So welcome everybody on Facebook. We're grateful that you're here, and YouTube, however it is that you're watching us today. So I want to start with a pretty impactful message that I know, I don't know if I've shared it here, but I've shared it elsewhere as a minister. Martin Luther King was at wherever it was he was speaking. And just his very presence would set people off. I'm kind of like him. I love it about myself. And so he was speaking, and a well-dressed man stepped out from the crowd and said, with great attitude, "Are you Martin Luther King?" And King said, "I am." And the well-dressed man spit on King. This is documented, this is history. So King reached into his pocket and took out a handkerchief, wiped off the spittle, and gave it back to the man and said, "I believe this belongs to you." Do you have the courage to do that when hate is spat upon you? It just takes courage. You don't have to have a hanky available or handkerchief. I don't even know what they're called these days. I don't even know if anybody's carrying them. I carry it. Happens to be my husband's. Can you do that? Can you stand in front of what it is that isn't right and say, "I'm not standing for it"? Being willing. So if you want to march, that's what we're going to do. It's not a parade. I was corrected. I thought we were having Martin Luther King parades on Monday. No, we're having marches. So anybody gets to show up, and we're going to march on the island and again in Bluffton in the afternoon. So if you want to do that, let me know. And we'll be in peace, of course, because in unity we stand for peace and not against other things. Doesn't mean we allow behavior that's not becoming or godlike. So today we're going to be writing a letter to our higher, bigger S self. So if you don't have a piece of paper, an envelope that you'll address to yourself in a pen, raise your hand. Someone will bring it to you while I'm speaking. So what the whole intention of this letter to yourself is for you to imagine just how amazing 2020 is going to be for you. From a place of gratitude and vision. Because remember, we've already done the burning bowl, so we got rid of all the stuff that's weighing us down. And then last week we named ourselves anew, yes? So how will you be living through the word in 2020 that you named yourself? And if you weren't here, it's all right. You'll still know that from inside of you, there's something that's calling, that you know is going to happen. And you're going to engage your imagination. And you're going to see it as you're writing it. So next December, when you get it, you go, ho, 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 wow, look at what I wrote and look at what happened. Could have happened, could not have happened, right? I don't know that answer for you. You'll know it next December when you read the letter. But if we can set the intention now, which we've been doing all month, and we know, as Myrtle Fillmore said, we know that the faith holds out. That was her biggest thing. She was also a sassy redhead. I don't know why. I just have these wonderful women in my life. So when money was an issue at Unity Village and everybody was like, "Oh, I hope we get donations," or "Oh, I hope the mail is good today," or whatever it was that they were doing, she would boldly walk her tiny little self into the middle of the meeting and say, "We are not going to hope that we might get some money. We are going to pray and know that our faith will hold out, that God is our source and we are the resources." She spoke with authority and everybody listened. So that's what I hope you go to. When things happen in your life that maybe aren't as great as what you want, and you can just hold on, knowing that the faith in you will provide. That's what this month has been all about. setting ourselves up for a great, amazing, filled 2020. We know I got new glasses because I had to have a new vision for this year. Grateful that I'm able to have those and that I have okay vision as well. Do we know that our vision is based on what we're thinking and what we're feeling? It is. So if we're going to start this year off with gratitude for what we already have and what we know will already happen, even though we don't know how, that's where we get caught up is, well, how can that happen? Stop asking the how, ask the what I need to do to make it happen. The how goes into the God can. And maybe you might create a can for yourself. Get one of those Folgers cans. I don't even know if they make those anymore. And make it a God can. And anything that you don't think you can do on your own, if you haven't already called Marianne or emailed her or prayed with the prayer chaplain, put it in the God can. It can be a bowl, it can be a Tupperware, whatever you want. Somehow making the process of actually naming it. That's what this letter is going to be about today. Naming it. Claiming it to be true. Reframing maybe a situation. Pausing. So that we can allow the greatness and the goodness and the amazingness of life to show up. We get to look beyond all the appearances that somehow might be saying, not going to happen, sister. I always say, you know what? Get thee behind me. Get thee behind me. Because I know that with God, all things are possible. The very word impossible means I'm possible. You know me with words. I am possible. So we get to make the shift in our mind and our thinking so that then what happens is it can manifest in our life. Like the song said, do we walk with God all the time? Knowing all of those who have gone before us. This is the 100th year of the right to women, for women to vote. I got a little vocal on Friday when they announced it. I was like, woohoo! Nobody else did that. And all the people who don't know me turned around like, what are you doing? And those who knew me just looked down. Yeah, there's our Therese. 100 years. And what I know, and I know this to be true, God does not see gender. God does not, yes, we were made in the image and after the likeness. But we are all beloved, begotten children of God. Unique, unrepeatable expressions of God. Let's say that together. We started with I am. I am a unique, unrepeatable expression of God. Let's say it again. I am a unique, unrepeatable expression of God. That's it. Claim it. Be it. And we're all unique. Thank God. Yes? Imagine if we all had red hair. Ew. Right? Then we wouldn't have beautiful blondes and beautiful brunettes and white hair and all of those other things that, I hope that's what I have underneath all this is beautiful white hair like Chris's. Oh my gosh. Yes? So we get to walk forward. That's the whole process of this going into 2020, which I think is a great image for us. But the vision is not outside of us. It comes from within us. And the knowing that what we want can be. It may not always be on our time. It may not be the color that we wanted or the shape that we wanted. However, we get to have what we want. What did Marianne read in the Daily Word? Always receive what we actually expect. Well, if you don't know what you're expecting, then how do you know what you want? And is want really a thing? That's a whole other discussion we had in Course of Miracles this week. We really don't have wants or needs, but we can have expectations. And the one expectation is that God will provide. And so know what it is that you expect, and then write about it in your letter. How many have had wonderful surprises in their lives? How many want more? So be willing to be open to those. This morning, we got the surprise that the alarm had gone off before we got here. And the reassurance when this sheriff showed up to say, "Are you all right?" I said, "We're good." He said, "I'm grateful." I said, "I bet you are too." And we prayed, and they left. It was a man and a female, a male and a female sheriff. So be prayed up, which means what? Taking time out of the busyness to be quiet, maybe write down some expectations in your journal or whatever you have at home, and then start your day ready to receive, ready to be surprised, ready to know that amazing things are going to happen. Butterworth, I think it's Butterworth, I'm not really sure now who, because I think he says everything. It has been correctly said, life is what happens to you when you're making other plans. I think that was before Butterworth. So God's will for us is to have a blessed life. But we have to believe that we're blessed and that we are a blessing. Because each of us is. We are blessed and we are a blessing. And that's what I know when the board meets, going in with the right frame of mind of, you know what? We're all here for what is the highest and the best of Unity Spiritual Center, Hilton Head. And that's why our meetings end in 2 hours. We had 10 minutes, a little extra this week, but we embellished a little bit. 2 hours to be on purpose, or less. How great is that? So we think life sometimes is just boring or mundane or routine. You might have a name for it. Some of us just exist. I hope not, right? And know that as we change our mind and have expectations, godly things can happen. I want to take a moment and acknowledge that Susan Roberts has her 4th great grandbaby, right? Where are you, Susan? Yes. Named Calvin after her husband, who was with God. Miracles happen all the time. Miracles happen all the time. I got news this morning of a colleague who passed and is with God, got her angel wings. I didn't know that she was expecting them or had them on order. And I know it's divine order because I did know of some of her suffering. And so what we know is it's always perfect timing. But we have to change our minds to believe that. We have to be honest with ourselves as to what's really happening in our life. What do we need to heal? Because healed people heal people, just like hurt people hurt people. So what is it? And that's what this letter might be like. I'm going to spend some time with myself. Imagine. You'll see on Facebook when I'm doing those kinds of days, I call them soul crafting days. And I always get certain phone calls from certain people. Everything okay? Yeah, it's good, because I'm taking the time to see it. Am I on purpose? What is God calling me to do? So today we get to be aware yet again of our amazingness personally and all that we bring and contribute. So one amazing person in this congregation is Miss Liz. Will you please stand for a moment? Please stand. Now, why do you think you're amazing? This is the person who has shown up every Sunday more than me. I'm gone 9 Sundays a year. She is here every single Sunday and has been all but one in the last 7, 10, 12 years that this church has been meeting. Liz, the constant. We are grateful. Thank you. And you might not even notice because she's a fixture. Right? And we love that about you. But you might have, like today, you might have been like, hey, Liz, where's the bulletin? Because that's the first thing she'll ask me for when she comes in. Are there bulletins? And I'm like, whatever the answer is. So it gives me as a minister great calm on a Sunday morning to know Liz will be there. Liz will be there to hand out the bulletins and to greet everybody as they come into this sacred space. What do you do that's amazing? And I could go around and pick out everybody and what you do, at least how you've blessed my life so far. And maybe we'll do that some Sunday. Greater appreciation. So what we know is that good can happen only always. Listen to that. Good can happen only always, with 100% probability. We have to be open, we have to want it, we have to be able to see it, we have to be willing. And therein lies the difference between each of us and how it is that we show up. The Bible tells us that Jesus, who we say in unity is our way shower and our elder brother, said that he came to this world as a begotten son as well, so that we may have life and that we may have it in abundance until it overflows. Are you willing? Are you willing to receive? That's from John chapter 10, verse 10. Are you willing to sing that song, Amazing Things? The reason we didn't sing the song, all of us, is because I cry every time we sing it. When I sing it in the car, so this morning on the way in, I said, are you okay, Rick, to sing it? And we'll just sing the chorus, so then I don't have to get so emotional with you all. And he said yes. And if he said no, we would have all done it together, right? Because we're always willing and always flexible. So we get to accept that living as humans in this world here, we are spiritual beings. Let me start all over. The quote that Eric Butterworth says is, we accept living as a glorious, miraculous, I added amazing experience, a spiritual adventure. We don't have to wait for anything to happen. We get to start today. Glorious, miraculous, amazing. Aren't those fabulous words? They should get your juices flowing. Spiritual adventure. The moment that your hand wants to go up here means, oh no, there needs to be a holy shift so that we can bring down the hand and say what? And have a change in our expectations. Moving from crabby, I'm not grateful, to what are my blessings? And today it was that I had peppermint gum in my bag. That was my greatest blessing. Because when my tummy gets upset, that's what I need, and it works. So blessings aren't always like, whew. Sometimes they're a piece of peppermint gum in your bag when you need it. You've heard that every cloud has a silver lining. Are you willing to look? Are you willing to know? Are you willing to see? Do you believe that right now is where you're supposed to be? If not, see me after. Because how do we know you're supposed to be in this moment right now? Because we are. It's not rocket science. Byron Katie says that all the time. How do you know this is supposed to happen? Because it's happening. Okay. And then, of course, it doesn't mean it doesn't give you pause. Of course, I hope there's always pause. And I hope you're always breathing into the moment. We also have heard that life is a journey, not a destination. Just like heaven and hell aren't destinations. And we have been on journeys that feel like hell, yes, and we've been on journeys that feel like heaven. I hope we're always choosing the heaven path. And then, if not, and we stumble over into the hell one, we take a moment, refocus, reframe, and get back on the path of heaven. So, are you willing to have an amazing life this year? The best year yet, right? Not the best year ever, the best year yet. Really mindful of the words that we use as we get prepared to write this letter. Are you willing to call forth your faith? Are you willing to acknowledge your gratitude? Are you willing to affirm? So let's say this affirmation together. Today, I affirm gratitude for all in this moment on their way. Let me just read this again. It was a little early. Can we go back? No, to the crazy affirmation, that one. Today I affirm gratitude. Oh, okay, I understand. Spirit had its way with me this morning. Today I affirm gratitude in advance. We needed some punctuation. For all the amazing blessings on their way in 2020. So let's say that together, please. Today I affirm gratitude in advance for all the amazing blessings on their way in 2020. Doesn't mean we don't want them in 21, 22, 23, 24, all of those. Yes, bring them. This year, we get to concentrate on ourselves. And are you willing to start from a place of gratitude, knowing they've already been fulfilled? That's what the letter's about. So you're writing to your big S self, and when we capitalize S, let's see, this way, we're talking about the Christ self, the highest and the best and the truth of us, no matter what anyone has ever told you. That all gets to go in the garbage. Because the truth is, you are born in the image and after the likeness, and you are a unique, unrepeatable expression of God. So are you willing to allow smiles to come to your face and have butterflies in your tummy because of the excitement? And to be willing to have anticipation of what blessing you're going to find next. Remembering that God goes before us always. Grounded in prayer and an expectation for what it is we want. So Rick is going to play some music. I'm going to do a little meditation. There's going to be quiet. Everybody's going to start writing a letter to themselves or not. I'm not the boss of you. Although I like to think sometimes I am, right? So I'm going to move myself away from that and write with expectation what it is you see happening. I'm just going to guess that Michael and Isla are going to say they live in Greenville. Yes? Yeah. I think so. Right? So know what you expect. And if you don't, just say, I'm going to figure out what I expect and I'm going to fill in this later. And you might add to it. But by the end of the day, when we leave, you're going to put it in the envelope and seal it, because it's nobody else's business. You're going to address it to yourself, and we will get it to you later in early December so you can see just how magnificent your life and how amazing it's been. So Rick will play some music. And what we know is that in the beginning, each of us, way back in the beginning of time, we were all gatherers of the harvest. And so I'm asking you today to take part in this harvesting of your amazing 2020, starting today. And I celebrate with you and for you during each day of my prayer time the full harvest of God as it is to show up in your life. As we take time each day to harvest the good of God within us, it allows for the opening of new beginnings, like this month has been for us here, January 2020. A new beginning of thinking and seeing and knowing and expecting and claiming with gratitude how amazing 2020 is going to be for us. Each time we choose to shift our mind from all the busyness in the world to that of God, we become aware of our own magnificence. God is everywhere present in and as you and is you. And that's why you're a blessing. That is why you are amazing. So imagine a year from now, you're reading this letter and you're celebrating the amazing things that have happened in 2020 that you declared to be so, setting with intention today. Dreams that have come true. Surprises, maybe, that you're looking forward to. Get into the feeling of what it will be like in December to read this letter, knowing that everything has made manifest. A deep sense of gratitude, and if you want to be grammatically correct, you could write it in the past tense, as if it's already happened. But that's, again, between you and God as you write this letter. And it's not as if something outside of you is going to bring you this magnificence. It's you from within, with your big S self, manifesting. And for all the people at home, if you want to mail me your letter that I can mail back to you, I can do that. Creating a letter of intention to yourself, celebrating all that's going to happen this year. We're going to move right into a time of meditation as well. Keep writing as you're so moved. As we allow the presence of 2020 to surround us, knowing that we've committed ourselves to our best year yet, living as God's sacred servants in the world, showing up however it is we have decided who we've come here to be, letting the rock, the stone, the Jerusalem stone that we wrote on last week be our foundation, and welcoming in the Holy Spirit, the very breath of God, to surround us in our time of quiet. Open minds and open hearts and open ears, allowing in the goodness and the greatness, the amazingness of God. We breathe into rejoicing and into being grateful. Each of us assured that God establishes the divine order in, through, and as us, part of us, for our highest and our best. Are you willing to will the will of God? Are you willing to have abundance and magnificence and beauty in your life? Are you willing to stand in your faith, knowing that everything you've written today is, in fact, on its way to you? And of course, this or something better, yes? This or something better. If you want to write that at the bottom of your letter or on your envelope, this or something better. We never want to close off the channels to all the greatness and dark chocolates and good that can come its way to you. And I affirm in this moment that the power of radiant light that is you, that illumines our minds and guides our way as you, is clearing the path for your best year yet. And your vision becomes clear. That this is because you've said it is so. A magnet for your good, for your greatness, for your amazing life. That's you. And so we decree this to be as we go into this silence, and let it be. In the silence. And in celebration of Martin Luther King Jr., we affirm that each of us breathes into this prayer of, use me, God, show me how to take who I am and who I want to be and what I can do, and use it for a greater purpose than myself in this world. And so it is, and so we let it be. We are grateful for all of our blessings, seen and unseen. Amen. And so as we prepare our love offerings, we're going to say our love offering blessing in front so our people at home can say it with us and know the truth of who they are, abundant and prosperous. So our love offering blessing, please. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen. And we are grateful for you who watches us from home. Thank you. And so we're going to start our song. Rick will do that.